So I want to go back to looking at strings, and I'm going to try and do something that you might think is a bit strange. We've seen that the maths works. Print 2 plus 2 gives us 4, and print 2 times 2 also gives us 4 in the shell. I'm just going to get rid of those for a minute. I'm going to use strings. Print 2 plus 2. So what do you think is going to happen when we run our program? Is it going to produce 4 or what? So let me save it and run it. And there's the answer. 22. Okay, it's a bit odd. So let's see if we can understand what's going on here. So if I do print 500 plus 21, maybe you would expect 521 as the answer. So let me run my program. What do we get? 521. So what it's doing is sort of just joining these together. That. It's not doing any maths with it at all. Just joining them together. So I might as well have just printed those two out and they will work out to be exactly the same thing. There you go. That was a bit strange. Let's do something a little stranger. Let's do this. 2 times, I don't know, 10. So I've got print 2 times 10. Maybe you think the answer is 20. Let's have a look at what happens. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What it's done is it's printed 2 out 10 times. It's a strange feature, hardly ever use it, but it does work quite nicely, particularly if you want to sort of draw these kind of lines on the screen. We could do that nicely. So I could do print equals times, I don't know, it must be at least 30 there. So I can print equals 30 times. There we go. So now you see how this was created. So it's not doing maths. It certainly wasn't adding numbers together, it was joining them. And when I'm trying to multiply, it's actually just repeating whatever's in the string that number of times. So it's going to repeat these 3 characters 30 times. There you go. We can get some weird effects going on. Bit odd. Okay, so how about minus? So if I've got 2 string and I take away 2 as a string, what's going to happen? Oh, we got a big error message. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and explain that one to you at the moment. I'm just going to say you can't use a minus symbol with a string. Similarly, you can't use a divide symbol. There you go. Same sort of error message. So the only thing you can use is a plus, which joins, or a times, which repeats, but we're not doing any maths. Last one I'm going to play with here is, okay, so I know I can use a plus symbol. What happens if I want to just use 2 as a string plus 4, which is a number? There is no quotes around it, so that makes it a number. So I'm going to try and run that. In fact, before I run that, I'm going to close the shell so you can see it clearly. and click OK. Oomph. It says you can't do it. Okay, so let me try to take you through this error message. It says we've got a type error. Now, a string is a different type to a number. It's like apples and pears. This is an apple, that's a pear. And it's saying that we can't join them. Now, the computer name for join is concatenate. So it says we made a type error. We cannot join str, which means string, and int, number. Okay, so that's a bit strange. Objects together. Int. Int is short for a mathematical word called integer, and you know it as whole numbers. Okay, so a computer knows a whole number, or calls a whole number, an integer, and most programs just shorten that down to int. Now, computers work differently with different kinds of numbers, and there are several different kinds of numbers. The two kinds of numbers that we will be using are whole numbers, or what we call floats, which you know as decimal numbers. And in fact, there's several names for this. Float is one, real number is another, and in some cases it's known as a double. So the same thing, float, real, double are all sort of decimal numbers. In other words, they've got a decimal point in. So 3.14159 is called a float because this decimal point can float along these numbers. So it can be 31.4159, or it can be 0.314159. It floats. We know them as real numbers because, well, it's a real number. Okay, it's what you expect to see of a number. Whole numbers aren't real numbers. There's no halves, there's no quarters. And double, well, we'll leave that for some other time. So we've got two different types of numbers. We might see that crop up from time to time. So in our error messages, let's try this one. Let's put a real number or a floating point number there and try and run it, see what error message we get. There you go. Type error, cannot join string and float. Okay, string and float. Let's just swap them the other way around so that when we run the error message we end up with float and string. So if I try to do 4.0 plus 2, it will say I can't join float and string. There we go. Well, let's give us a little bit of a different message. Unsupported operand. Operand means add, or times, or minus, or divide. So it says I can't do that for a float and a string. So that is a float, a floating point number. That is a string. So we've got different types of information. In the next video, I'm going to show you the importance of this float number here.